So we're about 15 games in. I figure now is a good time to talk about the MVP a little bit. Of course, other people have done it, so I'm piggybacking off of that.
This is a tricky production.
So it seems that the people in contention right now are LeBron, Luka, Harden, and Giannis, right? Now, before I talk about those dudes, I guess I'll just mention Kawhi, because I think he's probably the only other guy who could get into this conversation to me. I just don't think he's going to play enough. That's pretty much it. I think he's going to end up with 60-something games played, and that's just not going to give him a real chance at it. And as far as Paul George, maybe. I mean, dude dropped 30 a game last season, so maybe he gets in here. But as of right now, he's just not in. He hasn't played enough and whatever else. If we look at Harden first, because I don't know why. There are definitely politics when it comes to the MVP award. And I feel like the only way Harden will actually win it, and the voters will actually be all for him, is if he is the overwhelming favorite. Because he has had some choice words to say about the award the past couple of years, and thinking that he's robbed, and it's just the whole James Harden thing, right? And I do think there's an interesting conversation that I could do a video on about, like, why Luka is beloved, whereas James Harden is disliked, even though they have similar games. That's been gaining some steam on Twitter, and it may even be a thing in an MVP conversation. I've never disliked James Harden, so I don't really think that thing applies to me, but it's definitely a thing, and I think it could impact the voters when this thing is eventually decided at the end of the season. So basically what I'm getting at with all that is I just don't think Harden is doing enough to get the MVP. I think Houston would have to be the 1 seed. I think he would have to continue to have insane numbers. And is that unfair? Potentially. I mean, he and Luka's teams have the same record, and I think some people would have Luka over Harden in this thing. And I mean, maybe you just genuinely believe he's been better than Harden. That's okay, but I mean, look, Harden is averaging 38, 8, and 6, and his true shooting percentage is still 62%. I mean, I know the field goal percentage and the 3-point percentage don't look amazing, but the free throws are obscene. The amount of threes make it to where the percentage is not as bad. I mean, that's the thing with Harden. It's like he's pushing the boundaries of what we consider efficient. You know what I mean? Because even as I look at that true shooting percentage, which is great, like over 60% is basically elite, he's taking so many shots that it's almost like, is that percentage even not totally accurate at this point? I don't know. I mean, the guy really has been going nuts. And there's a chance that it's just Harden fatigue and whatever else, and these things do still matter when it comes to the MVP. I mean, then I look at Luka, and I think Luka's in a similar boat with Harden, where while of course it's incredible that this is his second season, and if you think he's going to be the best player in the league 3 years from now, you know what, you're looking pretty good with that take right now. But can I confidently say that he's been better than Harden or LeBron or Giannis? No, not really. Even if he may be a little more exciting, partially because it's the new thing, right? So, yeah. I feel like for Luka to have a real chance, it would have to be the narrative of, like, he carried a team that's not that good. So if Dallas finishes with, like, the 2 seed, like, maybe the Lakers finish with, I don't know, 60 wins, and then the Mavericks finish with 58, and Luka, his stat line basically holds up all season, and Porzingis doesn't go nuts in the second half of the year or whatever, which is cool. He's coming off of the ACL and everything. Then maybe in that scenario, I could see Luka winning. But even then, if the Lakers are going to win 60 games, I'm assuming LeBron is going to keep on doing what he's been doing, and my gut just tells me in that scenario, LeBron still wins the MVP, or at least has a case over Luka. Now, if we move on to Giannis, the back-to-back MVP does happen. In fact, usually with MVPs, it's like it's either LeBron, MJ, a back-to-back dude, or it's a first-time guy, if we just want to go strictly into the politics of all this. So Giannis definitely fits into that thing. And while others may disagree, personally, I think Giannis has been the best player in the league so far. 31, 14, and 6. And also, if I'm honest, the Bucks roster is well put together of veterans who can make threes and defend and stuff. But even so, part of me thinks the roster really isn't that good. Now, maybe that's because I've just seen Eric Bledsoe fall apart in 2 straight playoffs, but I think Giannis is doing a lot for this team. I mean, to go with the box score stuff, he's also the best defensive player of the candidates by far. I mean, this guy's probably going to get first team all defense again. Now, could I make that same case for Luka and Harden? Yeah, probably. I mean, Harden's going to get an all-star teammate. Luka probably won't unless Porzingis goes crazy. Kinda starting like right now. And LeBron will definitely have an all-star teammate. I mean, LeBron has the best teammate of all these guys, so if you want to use that against him, okay, I can't stop you. Whereas with Giannis, I mean, like, maybe Middleton will make an all-star game just off of the fact that he's the second best player on the Bucks, probably. And even then, Middleton's missed some time, so Giannis has had to carry that load as well. I just think Giannis has been the best. Do I think that means MVP? That doesn't always mean MVP. I mean, if you want to look at narratives, the idea of, well, LeBron is getting better as a playmaker, and it's year like $9 million for him, and versus Giannis, who is basically doing what LeBron did in his mid-20s. And I feel like LeBron, especially because it's in the West, and that matters, of course, the opponent you're facing. And I do think LeBron kind of comes out of that as probably the favorite, even though he's not my personal favorite. Like, I do think Giannis is the MVP so far. And I know I'm Team LeBron, and I've got LeBron as the best player ever and all that, but I just think Giannis is maybe becoming a little underrated. Is that crazy to say? Maybe it is. I don't know. He did just score 50 without Gobert, so maybe I'm going a little too hard for Giannis, but I don't know. I think that is my pick right now. And I don't think I have really much else. I mean, what is the case against Giannis right now? The case against him is that he's in the East, right? I kind of feel like that's the only one. I mean, the only other case is that you just think somebody else has a better case. So if I were to rank them, I would go Giannis number 1, and then after that, I don't know. I mean, I could talk myself into any of the 3 being the number 2 guy. So, I don't know. I will be honest, I lean a little closer to Harden than LeBron, because I just think James he continues to be amazing. I get it. Like, you can crap on him for flaming out in the playoffs, and you can hate him because he's James Harden and everything that embodies, and you can hate the Rockets for their play style. Dude's putting up 38, man. So maybe he's my number 2 guy. What matters is I've got Giannis number 1.